If you're after an oppressive, gore-filled, sci-fi body horror movie for all the family to gather around this festive period, I've got just the film for you. Possessor was written and directed by Brandon Cronenberg. Yes, that name will sound familiar if you're into oppressive, gore-filled sci-fi body horror movies, because Brandon is the son of David Cronenberg, the director of The Fly, Videodrome, Scanners, Crash, to name just a few. In an alternative reality, a special agent uses brain-implant technology to control other people's bodies for the purpose of assassinating the targets of high-paying clients. Welcome back to the channel and to my movie review of Possessor. This is a film I've been hearing about for what seems like the last year. It premiered at Sundance in January and it's created a lot of buzz wherever it's been shown. It sounded totally like my kind of film. The premise sounded really interesting and I enjoy most of Cronenberg Sr.'s work and heard that the apple hasn't fallen too far from the tree. So what did I think? Well, I can't help but feel disappointed. But let's go with the good stuff first. The two leads, Andy Riseborough and Christopher Abbott, are both absolutely fantastic. This is a very heavy film and they both have to deal with a lot of emotions. Lots of anxiety, desperation, confusion and a shit ton of turmoil. Abbott gets the more screen time of the two and I imagine he needed a holiday after this one. It's draining to watch and I imagine this kind of role takes a real toll on an actor. It's a striking looking film. Not everything worked for me, visually speaking, but the film deserves a lot of credit for trying something original and memorable. Possessor's world is an alternate reality to our own. This is a seemingly totalitarian state where massive corporations dominate people's lives and people go to work in the same uniform and do the same kind of worker bee drone job. The city, the places of work and the place where this possession technology occurs are all cold and dull and drab. Purposefully so. There's a kind of semi-futuristic, brutalistic vibe to everything. When Voss, played by Andrea Riseborough, has difficulties with her connection to her current host, things become fragmented. Her mental state becomes unstable and we see this as blasts of heavy stylised and coloured effect segments. They're jarring and quite uncomfortable to watch, the kind of thing that should come with epilepsy trigger warnings. Whilst these segments do look interesting, they give off a little bit of a whiff of film students showing off. They're just a little bit too much and sometimes they don't quite fit. You will have likely already heard about the gore in Possessor and it is pretty extreme, pretty visceral and quite disturbing. And from what I can tell, it's all done in camera, none of your CGI bullshit here. It's generally very well done and very realistic. I've been watching gory films since before I probably should have been allowed to watch gory films, and it takes a lot to make me flinch. There is one incredibly violent and gory scene about a third of the way through the film which had me clenching my teeth. Nasty is a good word. This scene is particularly nasty, and it sets the tone of the film from then on. This is not a fun time. Finally, I really like the central premise of Possessor. It's not the most original idea ever, and some other films have dealt with the same kind of themes, but at a basic level, it's a really good central premise. So if you've seen Possessor, what did you make of it? Could you stomach the gore? Is it going to bother your top 10 films of 2020? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're enjoying this video, please consider subscribing to the channel and give this video a thumbs up. As I said in the intro, I've been waiting a long time to see Possessor, and yes, it did leave me somewhat disappointed. Whilst there is a lot to like here, all of my positives come with accompanying negatives. I said I enjoyed the performance of the two leads and they were both very good. I wasn't, however, as sold on Jennifer Jason Leigh as Gerda, Voss's boss, and Rossif Sutherland as Voss's husband. I just found Jennifer Jason Leigh not to be right for the character. It just didn't fit for me. Rossif Sutherland doesn't get a huge amount of screen time. Just felt a little bit flat to me, especially in the early scenes. These are both personal things and neither performance was bad or spoilt the film at all. They just weren't quite right for me. Now, I love a bit of gore. Creative and realistic gore used in the right place can be incredibly effective. And it looks brilliant here, but I just found it needlessly gratuitous. The film does a great job of setting up an atmosphere of oppressive dread, and the violence and gore just don't add to this. It felt cheap that they relied on the violence to push this unpleasant atmosphere. especially as the film has already done a good job of setting up that atmosphere through the screenplay, the acting, cinematography, the tone, amongst other things. I said I like the central premise of Possessor, but I also feel they've wasted a good opportunity here. At about the halfway point, the film lurches in one direction, and to me it felt like it was heading towards a dead end, like they didn't want to explore this idea much more. I would have liked to have seen more about this shady agency. Who are the people hiring these people to kill people and why, and how did it all work in this world? Towards the end, I also found that the characters started to act in ways which didn't really make sense to me. There was more violence for violence sake, really, and it didn't feel in keeping with how the characters had acted up to that point. Because of all this, the film started to lose me in its second half. I liked the ending and I liked how it panned out, but it was too little too late at that point. So in summary, sadly I didn't enjoy Possessor as much as I'd hoped. It's a well-made, well-acted and mostly well-written film, but a few creative choices and abundance of excessive and needless violence really left me feeling quite hollow. My score for Possessor is 6.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching.
Game over, man. It's game over.